You can't make it up. The San Francisco 49ers have another injury to the wide receiver position. This position group is in peril going into week 1, looking ahead to this game against the Seattle Seahawks, and this isn't good. Even Kyle Shanahan acknowledged that the Niners, because of all of these injuries, the slew of injury problems that they've had, they haven't been able to have the training camp that they've wanted to have. Kyle Shanahan said that yesterday. And so as you look ahead and we pivot to week 1 against the Seahawks, this is going to be a really difficult game because the Niners could be very short-handed at a very critical position at wide receiver. As for the injury news on this Thursday, August 21st, Russell Gage, who had been having a really nice training camp, put himself in a position to make this 53-man roster, has an MCL sprain. He's out 7 to 10 days. And so that might not impact his ability to play week 1 against the Seahawks, but with all of the injury issues that the Niners have had, you don't know if he's going to be out longer than that. And with Shanahan saying we haven't been able to have the training camp that we wanted to have, that's notable. But also at the wide receiver position right now, and especially with this offense, reps, timing, synergy, it's all really important to work on that now to get ready for the regular season. That is the point of training camp, practicing in general, and these preseason games. And with Russell Gage now going down, 6 of the 49ers' top 7 wide receivers are either injured or facing suspension. And so the availability for these players at that position in week 1 is a huge unknown for this Niners offense. We're going to be seeing a lot of 12 personnel, 2 tight end sets. San Francisco most likely going to have to go run heavy. And realistically in week 1, the Niners starting wideouts could be Ricky Pearsall, Robbie Chosen, Russell Gage, and maybe Jauan Jennings if he can actually get on the field. But the current state of this Niners wide receiving core, Brandon Aiyuk probably going to start the year on PUP. He looks great in these workouts. That's awesome. But I don't think he's going to be ready for week 1, of course. Jauan Jennings still not practicing because of the calf issue. Jordan Watkins has a high ankle sprain. His week 1 status is in doubt. Jacob Cowing re-injured his hamstring. Russell Gage now hurt. And the 49ers have Demarcus Robinson, who has been durable. He's had a really good training camp. I think for this Niners team, especially at the price in which they got him at in free agency, he can be a really solid player for San Francisco in 2025. But Kyle Shanahan announced yesterday, it is official. The NFL is suspending him 3 games to start the year. Now, yesterday, of course, we broke the news down on the 49ers report that San Francisco is trading for Skyy Moore. This isn't a move that's going to move the needle. The Niners are hoping they can catch lightning in a bottle with Moore, who was a second-round pick and can help as a receiver, as a return man. He's had some injuries. He's had some drops as a return guy. He's been explosive. Had an 88-yard punt return the other night against Seattle in the preseason, but he's also dealt with some fumble issues. He's a gadget guy in Kyle Shanahan's offense where he can use him on bubble screens and jet sweeps and reverses and crosses and easy routes to see if he can impact this team. But the Niners made that move, late-round pick swap in 2027, didn't cost anything, just so that they can keep their heads above water. But that brings me to this. I talked about this last night in the breaking news video when that trade was made official with the Niners acquiring Skyy Moore from the Kansas City Chiefs, and I had said I just recorded a video at the Chat Sports Studios talking about this report from Dianna Russini that the Niners are going to trade for a wideout, and I did have Skyy Moore on that list. But given the uncertainty, all of the injuries at the wide receiver position, and the fact that Skyy Moore might not even be on this team in a month or 2, I think the Niners could still trade for another wide receiver. And so I had said last night, you're probably never going to see that video, but I've gotten a lot of comments. Chase, could the Niners still trade for a wide receiver? I think they still might trade for a wideout because they still might need to trade for a wideout. And so I went back and watched that show. Everything that I said still applies. And so that's what I'm going to run right here on the 49ers report. And you'll notice I talk about all of the receiver issues. I talk about Demarcus Robinson getting suspended. I had Skyy Moore as a trade target in that video. But there's one player who I really like, who I would still love for the Niners to get, and that's Romeo Doubs of the Green Bay Packers. And so I think a wide receiver trade is still on the table, so I'm going to play that video that I recorded last night because all of that content and context still applies to where the Niners are at right now at that wide receiver position, and that's what's coming up right now. Do you think the Niners will make a trade for a wide receiver? Let me know, and this is why you subscribe to the channel. Breaking news happened last night with Skyy Moore, recorded a video, had him on my trade targets list as a player who San Francisco could trade for, and all week I've been talking about how the Niners were most likely going to and needed to trade for a wide receiver, and then it happened. We always like to stay ahead of the curve here on the program, so enjoy this video. Let's go. All right, another loaded show coming your way on today's San Francisco 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr. According to an NFL insider, the Niners are calling teams around the NFL because they want to and frankly need to trade for a wide receiver. And with that, we're going to take a look at some receivers who the Niners can go after and shop for. We also have some breaking news coming up here in just a moment. I do want to queue up today's poll question. It is this right here to my right. Do the Niners need to trade for a wide receiver? Type yes or type no. I want to hear from all of you watching the program here down in the comment section right now. As for that breaking news, we had an idea this was coming. We weren't sure when it was going to come, when it was going to be made official, but Kyle Shanahan just made the news official on KNBR, the sports leader in San Francisco, that 49ers wide receiver Demarcus Robinson has been suspended 3 games for violating the NFL substance abuse policy. This came after he was arrested for DUI following the Sunday Night Football game when the Rams took on the Philadelphia Eagles in the LA area. And we knew that this was coming, but this is still a big blow to this Niners receiving team. I thought Demarcus Robinson had a career year last year for the Rams. He averaged more than 16 yards per catch, caught a bunch of touchdowns from Matthew Stafford. With Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp dealing with a lot of injuries, he really made an impact for Sean McVay and that offense. Every year that he's been in the NFL, his teams have made it to the NFL playoffs, and throughout the spring, he balled out for the Niners after they signed him to a really affordable 2-year contract. So far in the summer, during training camp, and in the preseason, he has looked awesome. But now the Niners are going to be without him the first 3 games of the year. Shanahan did say that they can go through the appeals process, but this is not going to get overturned. The NFL doesn't joke around with matters like this. Jordan Addison of the Minnesota Vikings, he got caught in a car incident. He got suspended 3 games. Rashee Rice getting suspended for a handful of games as well. And so that is the ruling by the NFL, and it's hard to disagree with the NFL's ruling here. Which brings us to this. A lot of 49ers buzz, according to reports, that the Niners are calling teams, canvassing other rosters across the NFL, looking to trade for a wide receiver. And we had a feeling that things were moving in this direction because after the Philadelphia Eagles traded for John Mechie III in a deal between Philly and Houston on Sunday, it was reported by Jordan Schultz that the Niners nearly traded for Mechie, but Philadelphia beat out San Francisco with a better deal. And so that gave me an indication, okay, the Niners are clearly not happy with where things stand inside that wide receiver room, and it's easy to see where San Francisco is coming from, right? They are banged up at wide receiver, and they could have 7 wide receivers on their initial 53 who make this club, but only 2 are able to play in week 1 against Seattle. Point here being, they have to make a move, and they have to make a move that is not just bringing in a camp body, and we'll expand on that coming up here in a moment, but look at everything that is happening to the wide receiver position for San Francisco right now. Brandon Aiyuk probably going to start the year on PUP. It is great that he looks great in that rehab process coming off the ACL and MCL that he suffered against the Chiefs in Week 7 in October of last year. And while he's running routes and he's looking explosive, looking healthy, there's still a long way for him to go, and he's not going to be ready for game action. And so he is likely to start the year on PUP, not eligible for week 1 and beyond. Jauan Jennings, great wide receiver for the Niners last year. Number 1 wideout with all of the injuries that happened there. Still not practicing because of that calf issue. Jordan Watkins in the preseason opener against Denver caught that 50-yard pass from Mac Jones. 4th-round pick, 4.3 speed, ball tracking ability. High ankle sprain in that game. Didn't feel it until the next day. He's out about a month. Might be out for week 1 against the Seahawks. Demarcus Robinson, suspension coming. Pending an appeal, but I don't think that appeal or that ruling from the NFL is going to get reversed. And then this sucks. Jacob Cowing, one of the stars for this Niners offense in the spring, who got hurt running against air the first day of training camp, hurt his hamstring, came back yesterday, felt the hammy again. So he's now probably going to be out for a little while. And so this is why the Niners have had so many tryouts all throughout training camp, where they have held several workouts with wide receivers. Now, with a lot of those wideouts, they've signed them, knowing they're going to cut them, waive them, or release them. Because those players have served as camp bodies just so the Niners can literally run one-on-one drills, do team drills, do joint practices, and actually play in these preseason games. But now it's getting to the point, do the Niners need to make an actual move to bring in a legitimate wide receiver? Dianna Russini, NFL insider for The Athletic, reporting this morning on this August 20th. The Jets are among several teams monitoring the trade market for potential wide receiver additions per sources. The 49ers and Vikings are also making calls. So the Niners, Vikings, Jets, all in the market for a wideout. And there are 4 particular wide receivers who I think make the most sense for San Francisco. I don't think they're going to make a splash trade for Terry McLaurin. He's older and he's going to cost a lot. And so that's why I think these players make the most sense. Jahan Dotson, Adam Thielen, Curtis Samuel, Romeo Doubs. Philadelphia's deep at wide receiver. For Carolina, young players are emerging. Xavier Legette could be on the verge of a breakout. They drafted Tet McMillan early in the first round. They like Coker as well. Curtis Samuel, he's behind a few wideouts with Buffalo. And then the Packers have a lot of depth at wide receiver as well for Romeo Doubs. They drafted Matthew Golden early. They drafted Savion Williams a little bit later. And so they have a bunch of wideouts on that team. They could look to get rid of one. And that brings me to this. If the 49ers do trade for a wide receiver, the player who I like the most, who I think makes the most sense for San Francisco, who has the most upside, is Romeo Doubs. He's been playing the last 3 years under Matt LaFleur, so you know that he can be a scheme fit for San Francisco. And the Packers are pretty deep at the wide receiver position after drafting Matthew Golden and Savion Williams. They also have Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed, and that's a really good wide receiver core. Christian Watson, most likely going to come back at some point due to a torn ACL, and that's why some of these Packers receivers have been included in some of this trade buzz for wide receiver needy teams, and that includes Doubs, who I think is a really solid player in his career. 235 targets, 147 catches, 1,700 yards, 11.5 yards per catch, 15 touchdowns. In 2024, I was expecting more of a breakout year for him, but not only do the Packers have multiple wide receivers who can play, they also are too deep at tight end, and they added Josh Jacobs as part of their running attack, and they were successful in running the ball. His numbers last year weren't bad by any means. I just thought they were going to be better. 46 catches on 72 targets, 601 yards and 4 touchdowns. I was high on Doubs going into 2024 because of what he did in 2023, especially late in the year and in the playoffs when the Packers became that 7 seed to knock off the 2-seeded Dallas Cowboys. That year, 56 grabs for 674 yards and 8 touchdowns. He was a 2022 4th-round pick out of Nevada. I think he has really good size, and I think that he would make a lot of sense for all of those reasons for San Francisco if they do pursue trading for a wide receiver. Of course, there are additional options and additional avenues that the Niners can take in order to bring in wideouts. These are players via the trade market, on the waiver wire, or in NFL free agency after roster cuts. And I'm not talking about Amari Cooper or Odell Beckham Jr. I'm talking about players who are currently on teams, and we'll get to those players coming up here who could be expendable and available just around the corner. If a move does happen, you know who's got you covered? Your boy right here, your fearless leader, Chase Senior, host of the 49ers Report. Yeah, that's me. I don't like to talk in third person, but I want you to hit that subscribe button because when breaking news goes down, we always break it down here on the 49ers Report. Subscribe for free content today. Our sponsor for today's show, our great friends at Chubby's. We are so amped and pumped up to have them here at Chat Sports as a sponsor for the 2025 NFL season. And anytime I wear this Niners polo, I get so many comments down in the comments section. Chase, I need that shirt. Where can I get it? Here's where you can cop it. chubbyshorts.com/chatsports. Use that link. This is a part of their NFL collection line. But on top of that, they have plenty of other items that you can get, and you get $10 off on those items by using the code ChatSports at chubbyshorts.com/chatsports. Summer might be winding down, but there is still time to add to your closet, your drawers, your wardrobe. And whether you're poolside, lakeside, oceanside on that long-awaited vacation, they have swim trunks that are awesome, and they're ready to travel. Life is too short for uncomfortable swim trunks. So these swim trunks are set up for all-day comfort with quick dry stretch fabric and a built-in liner that actually does its job. No more chafing, no more soggy butt, no more mesh disasters. And when the sun goes down and you're heading from beach to dinner, swap into a pair of everywhere shorts. They fit right, they feel right, and they go with everything. You can also pair that with a Chubby's Performance Polo. I'm telling you, I love the designs, the feel, the fit, the material, the look. You will as well. So, whether you're suiting up for cannonballs, cookouts, casual Fridays, hitting the golf course, getting some drinks with a significant other, some friends, Chubby's has you covered. Limited time, Chubby's is giving our listeners $10 off your order using the code ChatSports at chubbyshorts.com/chatsports. As for some other wide receiver options for San Francisco, there's really a variety of them who are all different players in different types of situations. Kendrick Bourne, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Dante Pettis, Robert Woods. Those four wide receivers on your screen could all get cut by their respective teams, Patriots, Seahawks, Saints, or Steelers. For Kendrick Bourne, a fan favorite for the Niners there for a little while. He really knows the scheme, and there's been a lot of rumblings over the last couple of years that maybe San Francisco would like to bring him back. Good on him. Played well for the Niners, ended up getting paid by the New England Patriots. He's had bad quarterback play. He certainly had his moments, but that could make sense to bring a player like that back. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, he can still run, 22.6 yards per catch last year with the New Orleans Saints. He knows the scheme, played well under Kubiak last year, who's now the OC with the Seattle Seahawks. Dante Pettis, Niner legend. I joke, but Kyle Shanahan really liked his route running ability. Didn't like his toughness, but liked his route running ability. He too knows the system, played under Kubiak. And then Robert Woods, he's played under Sean McVay and Bobby Slowick, who used to be on this Niners staff under Kyle Shanahan and then became the Texans offensive coordinator before he got fired after the 2024 season. Next wave of players here. Malachi Corley of the Jets, Mitchell Tinsley of the Bengals, Justin Watson of the Texans, Ronnie Bell, Niner legend of the Detroit Lions, and then Jalen Reagor of the Los Angeles Chargers. I liked Malachi Corley coming out of Western Kentucky. He visited San Francisco in the pre-draft process, so they showed some interest there. He is a Deebo Samuel type of player, and Robert Saleh was head coach of the Jets last year when they drafted Malachi Corley. Tinsley, he popped on Monday Night Football this past Monday for the Bengals against the Commanders, caught 2 touchdowns, both of which were nice grabs, had more than 70 yards receiving. That Bengals team, after re-upping Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, pretty deep at wide receiver. Watson, 21 starts with Kansas City, a very serviceable wide receiver. for Ronnie Bell. I loved what he did during preseason and in training camp as a rookie 7th-round pick out of Michigan. And then last year, he was dreadful in the preseason. Then in that Rams game, had that really bad drop late in the game, which could have won the game for San Francisco. Niners cut him loose shortly thereafter, but he can play inside and outside. Again, knows the scheme. And then Jalen Reagor, former first-round pick by the Philadelphia Eagles. He was a huge bust there, went to New England, now with the Chargers. Pretty experienced guy who has punt return experience too. 27 career starts. Third wave of players. Skyy Moore, former 2nd-round pick. Tyler Scott, a former 3rd-round pick, I believe, of the Chicago Bears. If not 3rd-round pick, then 4th-round pick. Terrace Marshall was with this team last year on the practice squad. 2nd-round pick by the Panthers after he was a great receiver for that 2019 national championship winning LSU squad. Trey Palmer, good size at the wide receiver spot. And then River Craycraft. He's currently on the Commanders now, but used to play for the Niners, then followed Mike McDaniel to the Miami Dolphins. So he had more scheme familiarity there. He too could be an option out of the slot. So name a wide receiver who you want the Niners to target. I always want you to join the conversation down in the comment section, and I encourage you to do that right now.